Well, Super Friends, today it is my pleasure to present to you Red Robin and Alfred Pennyworth. The packaging for these is exactly the same as all the rest of the DC Multiverse Blue Box action figure packaging, with that gigantic window in the front, logos on the top and the bottom, and an image of each character off to the left. As always, there's an image on the left-hand side of each box, as well as one on the right. Here's the tops, and here are the bottoms, along with those barcodes. The back of each packaging, just like every other figure in the wave, shows figures 1 to 6, and also has the number for whichever Collect and Connect Killer Croc piece they come with. And they've also both got a short little bio. DC Rebirth, Red Robin, from sidekick to superhero. Tim Drake fights crime in Gotham City alongside the rest of the Bat family. And for Alfred, DC Rebirth, Alfred Pennyworth, Butler, medic, soldier, friend. There's nobody more important to Bruce Wayne than Alfred Pennyworth. Great, now let's open these fellas up. And here they are, Alfred, Robin, and all of their accessories. Alfred comes with Killer Croc's right arm, 3 separate heads, serving tray with Batman cowl and glass, and Tim Drake Robin comes with the other arm, 2 closed fists, and his fighting bow staff. As for Alfred's extra heads, this first one here is known as the Outsider. This face sculpt looks pretty good. I'm not really sure if it's supposed to have flesh tone at the back. I seem to remember the Outsider being all white, completely white, so maybe mine didn't get painted enough. Next up we have Alan Napier. He played Alfred in the classic 1966 Batman and Robin TV show, and this head sculpt looks remarkably like him actually. They seem to have gotten the glasses right, and the mustache, and the hair. He really looks good, and the paint and sculpting detail are both absolutely fantastic on this head sculpt. And our third and final head, rounding out the 3, is the 1989 Batman Michael Gow Alfred the Butler head sculpt. And much like with Alan Napier, they completely nailed it, and it's a fantastic head sculpt. Good job, Mattel. And here's a closer look at the serving tray with the little tiny glass that comes with it, along with the little Batman cowl. It looks cool from the front, but the back definitely looks a little cheap. Here's a closer look at Killer Croc's right arm, and here's a closer look at the left arm. But that's all for now, because they're going to be in their own video. Here's a closer look at that bow staff that came with Red Robin, and it's actually not the same one as the original DC Universe Classics. They're actually different. They're not the same sculpt at all. And finally, here are both of the extra fists that come with Red Robin. You'll note that on both of these fists, there's actually a completely different green paint scheme there. It covers most of the top of this fist, but there's only a stripe down the middle of this one. And now on to the figures. Let's start with Tim. This version of Tim Drake's uniform is hugely inspired by the old school Tim Drake costume, along with, as far as I can tell, judging by the bracers and also by the armor around his calves and knees, inspired by the video game. But this figure looks good. It's nice and clean, and all the sculpted detail on here really shows through. In my opinion, this is absolutely one of the better iterations of Tim Drake's Robin uniform, and there's a lot to talk about with this one. For one, how about all that new tooling? Like his shin guards and the knee pads all seem to be brand new tooling. The same can be said for his wrist bracers. They definitely seem to be newly sculpted detail unique to Tim, along with his belt and utility pouches. A completely brand new tooled torso. That detail's not just painted on, it's actually sculpted there. And the Red Robin logo on his chest is sculpted as well, and mine looks pretty fantastic. I've seen some that are kind of messy, but this one looks good. Yeah, this guy's just chocked full of newly sculpted detail. And his cape, I gotta say, I'm actually happy they did not go with a cloth goods cape with this one. I feel like that just wouldn't have done this guy justice. Then you would have had the neck piece coming to about here, and then an ugly little strip of fabric hanging down the back. And as with Alfred, I think that they pretty much nailed the Tim Drake facial features and sculpt with this figure. I can't see anything about it that I would want to complain about. I mean, the paint apps aren't perfect, but this actually looks really good. The hair's got that two-tone shading. And for the most part, the paint has gone where it's supposed to go as far as hairline is concerned. Yeah, fantastic. I have absolutely no complaints about this figure whatsoever. Now, as you would expect, this Robin figure is actually pretty well articulated. For one, the head's on a ball peg, and there's actually a lot of motion there. The armpits, you've got those hinges, you've got the bicep swivels that go 360, you've got double jointed elbows of awesomeness, you've got the rotating hinges in the wrists there, you've got your ab crunch, you've got a tornado waist, it goes 360, you got the balls in the groin, you got your little thigh cut there, you got your double jointed knees, and then you have your hinges that are also fantastically pivots. For our first comparison, I've got him stacked up against a few other Tims, a custom Mattel version, half DC Universe Classics and half early 2000s Batman Missions, and a DC Direct Titans Tim Drake. These are probably all my 4 favorite Tims right here. And of course our comparisons wouldn't be complete unless I brought in the Arkham series Robin figure. And when I move him over and move him over and move him in, you can really see where they got the inspiration for this current suit. This really is very much a mix of both of these. Yeah, you know, I really like this Robin figure. And there ain't no one that can convince me that this one is just regular old multiverse trash. It's got all the articulation that we tend to want in our figures, and it's got a lot of newly sculpted detail. In my opinion, they got the colors right, the look right. This, to me, is the current Tim Drake Red Robin. And if I'm not mistaken, our good friend and friend of the channel, Jason Langston, helped design this one, which is probably why it is so rad. And now we move on to Batman's most trusted ally, Alfred the Butler. Now this Alfred shares most of the same sculpted body parts as the previously reviewed Joker figure. Same feet, same pants, same vest, not the same jacket. They do have different jackets. The sleeves and the gloves are the same though. And of course, they both have 2 different molded sculpted ties. But as you can see, front and back, these guys are pretty much the same. They were able to actually use these body parts twice. I'm not really upset they did because we got a good Joker and a good Alfred out of it. But yes, they are definitely different jackets. Now, although Alfred came with this big handful of accessories, it would have been also kind of cool if he had came with a shotgun, because Alfred's been known to protect the cave with a shotgun from time to time. And then for me, the final point of interest is that classic comic-styled Alfred face sculpt. I like this so much. That hair looks so perfect. I really like that. And look, he's got a bald spot. In my opinion, this is the Alfred figure that us DC fans have been waiting for so long. Here he is with the 66 Batman head on the body, and it scales well. It looks nice on the body. And here he is with the movie head, and dude, I actually kind of think that they sculpted this body with this initial head sculpt in mind. Because in my opinion, this head matches the scale of this body the best, like perfectly. And here he is with the outsider head on the shoulders. This one was a bit of a pain in the butt to get on there. Pop it off, stick on the classic comic book one, and do some comparisons. Here he is next to the DC Direct Batman Hush Red-Nose Wino Alfred. Why did I call him a wino? Well, look at that nose! He's clearly a lush. This was the Alfred that was my stand-in for many years with my DC Universe Classics, and now I'm going to be able to free him up and stick him with my DC Direct Bat family. Hooray! Here he is between 2 of my favorite Batmans, and here he is between 2 more. And just changing heads here, now I've got some movie versions of Batman. Batman Forever Multiverse, NECA Keaton, and Toy Biz Keaton Throwback. They've all got new capes, and this one's got a new head, but essentially you get the idea. And now that we've got him popped the 66 head sculpt on, now we can just, ooh, wow. That's not in scale at all. Hang on a minute, that's better. 1966 NECA Pipsqueak Batman, at your service. Those 2 scale together way better. Now let's quickly go through his articulation. Ball peg, neck hinge back and forth, round and round. Rounded ball hinges here in the armpits for the shoulders. Swivel, swivel here. Double jointed elbows. Swivelly, swivelly. Hingy, hingy. Back and forth. Crunchy, turny, spready, more turny. Double jointed knees. And hinges with pivots. Man, why do you need all that articulation? It's not like you're going to be breakdancing or fighting crime anytime soon. So now that we've covered everything, I suppose that would make this opinion time. Final thoughts! What do I think of these guys? Well, I know that there are those of you out there who think that almost everything that Multiverse puts out is trash, garbage, throw it in the bin. And no matter what Mattel does, some people, there's just no pleasing them. Just more Mattel garbage. And listen, I get it. Some of their figures let me down too. Sometimes a little, and sometimes a lot. But that's not to say that they don't knock it out of the park sometimes. I really feel like this whole wave, not just Alfred and Tim Drake here. Personally, I think this is a really strong wave altogether. This character selection is fantastic. Had they have given us an actual, real Bruce Wayne Batman as opposed to Dick Bats here, and made a few minor tweaks like giving Katana a scabbard, fixed how Red Hood's helmet rested on his shoulders, did something else with that groin area on Dick Bats, I still think it's one of the very best waves of Multiverse that we've ever gotten. And in my opinion, these figures are absolutely fantastic. A fan of Tim or a fan of Alfred, you're probably gonna want to pick these guys up. I know that I might seem a little bit biased, but these figures get top marks as far as I'm concerned. They're not perfect, and none of them ever are, but these are darn good action figures in my opinion. Darn good. But heck, this is just my opinion, and it's my channel, and I can have it if I want to, but you know what? I have a comment section, and you can leave yours too, right down below. Feel free to have your say about the Robin, or the Alfred, or the wave in general. Do you like it? Don't you like it? Yay or nay? If you don't, why don't you like it? If you do, why do you? Also, if you like this video, please take the time to leave a thumbs up on it, because that's going to tell the algorithm that I'm doing something right. Actually, technically any interaction, negative or positive, helps. But be nice with my fragile and gentle soul. And finally, if you liked what you saw here today and you want to see more of it, well, there's an easy way to do that. You could become a super friend and join the DC squad simply by hitting the subscribe button and dinging the notification bell so that you know when I've put something out. And with that, I'm done. So, have a DC day, super friends. Everybody take care.